Hey guys, welcome back to Spotlight Reviews. It's Jasmine. Welcome back to part 2 of season 3, episode 6 of The Handmaid's Tale. Thank you so much for joining me again, and let's get back into this episode. As June is shown to her room, she asks, "Oh, they have a handmaid?" And that confused me at first, but I think she means that since they have so many children, why would they have a handmaid? I mean, how many children are they expecting to have? And this is the first time that June gets to actually interact with another handmaid that is from DC and in this household. So she's very curious. She's asking her questions and the handmaid is just not responding. She's not saying much. And I noticed in this shot right here, the handmaid doesn't close the door all the way. She leaves it cracked. And I'm wondering, I mean, you can see through the door. Why do you also have to leave it cracked? Is that just a rule that they have in the house? You know, that they just can't have any, this is another invasion and submission of their privacy? What do you guys think about that small little detail? Now, before we even see her face, we are engulfed by the sound of these snaps in the garment. The sharpness of the snaps just grab your attention, and it creates so much anticipation for you to just see her face or hear her voice or have her turn around, and it just makes you inch closer in curiosity. And then this happens. The devastation I felt when I saw these rings stapled into her face was crazy. I mean, I was truly surprised. I mean, you're literally a baby making machine. The degradation that's attached to not only the position of a handmaid, but by the physical silencing of your voice is completely dehumanizing. And it's like watching something out of a horror movie. I mean, June's face, she's like disgusted and horrified. And it's exactly how I felt when I saw this scene. They depicted this so well that it was literally the only thing on my mind once I finished the episode. Even Aunt Lydia examines these rings and feels that maybe DC has gone too far. The moment she has with June is such a great arc in the character because Aunt Lydia is a complex character and she rules with an iron fist, but when she tells June that she doesn't want handmaids to be silenced and she consoles her, she's proving that although she believes in harsh punishment, she still believes the girls to be human and have a soul to be preserved. She is ashamed by the mouth guard. She doesn't even really want to put it on June. And when June puts it on, it's like it looks so tight and constricting on June. And I think this is when June realizes how bad life can really get in Gilead. So June tries to negotiate with the Swiss, and we're familiar with June's negotiating skills in prior episodes. She always is trying to negotiate with people to try to get her way. But I just don't understand why she would think she could trust them. I mean, she's risking Nick's life and his career and reputation based on just a promise that, you know, he'll be loyal to her and will actually go along with the meeting. Now, when they tell her that they don't decide to go with Nick's information, it makes you think like, okay, what was going on with Nick, and is there more to his story than we realize? Now, remember back in season 1, Nick's story. He was recruited by Commander Price, who ends up being one of the top commanders in Gilead, who got blown up in that terrorist explosion. Now, he got recruited by Commander Price at this Worthy Path career counseling. Now, if you notice, it's called Worthy Path. So I think this is one of the recruiting tools that the Sons of Jacob, which is what Commander Price belonged to at the time, I think this is one of the recruiting tools they used in order to scout out people for the crusade. Because if you even look at the symbol on the door, it's a symbol of a hand, which is, what do they usually say? They say, by his hand. And in the middle of the hand, it looks like an eye, or kind of looks like the hood of a handmaid. So I think that was all subliminal, and it was a way for people to seem like they're going in to try to find a job, but really what they're doing is behind the scenes recruiting for people to be a part of the Gilead cause. So this leads me to believe that when Nick met with the Swiss, I don't think he told them anything. And I think we learn in this episode that he is a commander of the military. So why would he risk putting, jeopardizing his position as a military commander, for something that June wants him to do? I think he's too far in. He even tells June, once you get in with the government, it's really hard for you to get out. And he was speaking from personal experience, basically telling her he can't even get out. So why would you even trust the Swiss in getting Nicole to stay in Canada? I was really excited to see Nick in this episode. I really thought that we weren't going to see him for a long time. And actually, I'm glad that his storyline is actually getting more interesting, because I just felt like it was kind of falling short. And now I feel like he has a real relevance within the storyline as far as where it could go in the future with his position in Gilead. So I'm excited to see how this affects the story in the future. Okay, there are a few things I wanted to point out in certain scenes and shots. For one, in this shot of the commander trying to shoot the video, the practice video, there is an X right above them in that lantern. Remember, in my past videos, I said that there are always X's around when there's a commander or authority. And I'm starting to notice more when Commander Waterford is around. But that was just something that I caught and I noticed. The other thing I noticed is in the kids' playroom. Now, it's an obvious thing. All the girls are dressed in pink. All the boys are dressed in blue. And that's something that they're keeping, especially even when they go to sleep. They had pink pajamas and blue pajamas. And also, all their toys are either wooden toys or stuffed animals. They're very basic, traditional toys. Now, in the background of this scene, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star is playing. So that's even traditional music that's playing in the background. I don't know if the music is actually playing in the room or is that just audio over the scene, but that was just a hint to a traditional song that they played in the background of that scene. Okay, we see this handmaid look at June at the end when they're actually shooting the broadcast, and June is supposed to kneel down, but she hesitates, and Fred repeats his narration again, and this handmaid right here looks up. Now this is of George, which is Commander Winslow's handmaid, and I wasn't sure at first, but then once comparing them, they look exactly the same. I believe this is of George, and I believe that she was looking at her because I think she was just wondering if June wasn't going to actually kneel down, and also kind of hoping that she doesn't, because she's the only handmaid that actually looks up once that hesitation happens. So I thought that was a really cool small detail. How visually stunning was these shots of just all these handmaids lined up at the memorial, and it just looked so great. It was just very visually appetizing, and I just thought it looked amazing. And just what they did with this whole entire scene, especially when all the handmaids knelt down at the same time, it was just such a powerful scene. I really, really loved it. All right, let's get into the Serena and June showdown. Tensions kept building throughout this entire episode. When Serena sees June at the station, and June tries to talk to her. When June and Serena talk inside the kids' playroom. When June tries to talk to Serena as they're trying to do the mock taping that Fred orchestrated. I mean, the tensions were just slowly building, and then it just got to this breaking point that we all knew was going to happen. Both of these women feel like their trust has been betrayed. Serena thought June would have Nicole, and June thought Serena would be an ally towards her, and they both feel like their trust was compromised. I just feel like June spares no expense at telling Serena how miserable she is. I love everything that she said. I mean, one of my favorite lines is when she says, "You can't be free of me, and you won't be until all my children are safe." And it's interesting that Serena said, we'll stay here in DC and you'll be back, where we just came from. So does Serena plan on staying in Washington, DC? Is that something that she sees herself doing? Has she and Fred already talked about that possibility? I thought that was interesting how she threw that in there. And I really like when she said to Serena, "You're small, you're cruel, and you're empty. You will always be empty." Because it is true. Serena is so concentrated on getting a child so she can have something that she can love and hold on to and control. And she's not even thinking about how the child's life is going to be affected in the future. She says she's incapable of loving, and true love is knowing that you're going to sacrifice what you feel for the betterment of the child. And just to prove how cruel she is, she says that Serena says she should have put a ring on June's mouth the day that they met. And honestly, I thought June was going to slap her, and I was hoping that she would, but she didn't, because that was just such a stab for her to say that. How could you even wish that on another person? I mean, Serena really just doesn't care. She wants a child at every single expense, no matter what it costs or who she hurts in the process. All right, guys, thank you so much. That's all I have. Thank you for watching part 2. And if you watched part 1, thank you so much for that. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. I would love, love, love to hear your thoughts. And I will see you next week. Bye.